Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my everyday foundation routine as it is right now. It's a full coverage glowy foundation routine that makes me look much healthier than I do without any makeup on at all. So if you'd like to see how I got this look, then please just keep on watching. I'm going to be starting out with priming my face today, and today I'm going to be going in with the Too Faced RX primer. And this is a really moisturizing primer, and I have very dry skin, so I've been really liking this primer lately. And I really need to get a full size because this little sample is almost gone, which makes me really sad. So I just take a little bit on my hands like this, and I like to work it into my skin. So I really want a glowy, healthy look. So for foundation today, what I've been absolutely loving doing is mixing the Maybelline Fit Me Dewy Skin Foundation with the EX1 Invisiwear Foundation. And I am in shade 2.0 in the EX1 and 120 Classic Ivory in the Maybelline Fit Me. And the reason why I have to use two different foundations is because the Fit Me is a little bit darker and the EX1 is a little bit light and more on the yellow side for me, so the combination of the two makes a pretty good match on my skin. Plus, the way that the two products work together are just amazing. They make your skin look so healthy and glowy, and I just love the finishing result. So I'm just pouring a little bit on my hand of the Maybelline Fit Me, and I use more of the Maybelline Fit Me than I do of the EX1. And I just take a little squirt of this, not much, and then I just mix them together on my hand. And I start applying it to my face. And I just like to dot it all over my face, and it doesn't really matter how you apply your foundation. Everybody's different, or how you throw it on your face, I guess. But this is just how I've always done it and how I like to do it. And a little bit down here just so I can blend it down onto my neck too. So now that I've got this all over my face, I just take my damp beauty sponge, and I usually take the excess off my hand and just kind of wipe it off like that onto the sponge, and then I just blend it all together seamlessly. And I prefer to use a beauty sponge over a brush. Some foundations I do feel like go on really nicely with a brush, but I've become so accustomed to using the beauty sponge that I just never use a brush anymore. I just really like the finish on just about every foundation with a beauty sponge. I really work on pouncing on my skin, and kind of like pouncing in a rolling motion. That way it really presses the product into your skin, and it's not moving it around or picking it up and then you're left with nothing there. Another personal preference of mine is I don't usually go underneath my eyes very far with my foundation. And the reason for that is because I have a lot of under eye creasing issues. And I find that the less product I put underneath my eyes, the less creasing I have. But I will take it and just press it above my eyes, just like this, just to get rid of some of that discoloration and, I've got veins and whatnot. And if I do get any underneath my eyes, you can see that it does a little bit of creasing. So what I just do is take the back of my beauty blender where it's clean, and I just kind of lightly rub against the bottom of my eyes just to get rid of any product that has laid down there. Now I'm going to move on to contouring, and my favorite thing to contour with is the Makeup Forever HD sticks, and I have mine in 150. I'm never sure which number to go with. I don't know if I should go with the 150 or the R370. So I just always go with the 150. So I'm going to be taking this Makeup Forever stick and just putting it along wherever I want to contour with. And I like to do this first just so that my concealer and everything doesn't crease too much. And I also like to go in with powder right away, but I don't like to apply cream over powder. So I'm just going to take this and go along my contour places, along my cheekbones, down my nose, I do a little bit right here, just to make my chin look more fuller. On my forehead, basically anywhere that the shadow is created when the sun hits your face is where you want to put your contour. And along the chin and jawline. And now I just go in with my damp beauty blender again, and I just blend this all out again with the pressing and rolling motions, never a swiping motion. My nose, I like to really pinch my beauty blender and make it nice and small so that way it doesn't get pressed all over my nose. Now we have all of the contour laid down. We're gonna go in with the concealer. And I really like to start out with the Maybelline Age Rewind. And I use mine in light. And I usually like to focus this one just at where the purpleness is real bad. So I take it on my inner corners, underneath my eyes, and on my eyelids. And this really helps to cancel out all of the purples and reds that I have going on underneath my eyes. So then I just go back in once again with this damp beauty blender or beauty sponge, and I just lightly blend all of that in. And already I look so much healthier without those dark purple lines underneath my eyes. The second thing I like to use for my concealer is the Tarte Shape Tape, and this concealer is amazing. The whole reason why I even started to get really into makeup was because of my under eye issues. I realized that they were getting really poofy and dark, and anything I'd put under there would start creasing. So I really started doing my research, and when this stuff came out, it was like a total game changer. This stuff does not crease underneath my eyes as much as anything else does anyways. It does have a slight creasing, but nothing like anything else. So what I like to do with this stuff is just draw on the typical triangle shape underneath my eyes. I take it from the inside of my eye down, and I just like to do very light lines so I am not disrupting any of the products that I have already put on there. Then I also take it down the sides of my nose like this. And this I find just helps to slim out my nose a little bit. I also like to take it around my nose right here because I notice that throughout the day I get really red right there. And then I also take it on my Cupid's bow and a little bit on my stash. The next place I like to focus is on my forehead up here. And then I also just take it down the bridge of my nose, and then I do a tiny little dot right at the top. And a little bit right here on my chin, just to highlight. And I again take my damp beauty sponge and blend this all in to the skin. Personal preference of mine is I always blend in my eyes last. I feel like the concealer sets a little bit more while you wait, and it also helps to stick to my skin a little bit better. I don't know if this is actually true, but this is what I've found works best for me. Another thing I like to do with my under eyes is I like to drag it down like this so I'm not getting as much product laying on my eyes. Quickly, to set my under eyes, I like to go in with the RCMA No Color Translucent Powder, and I like to take these little medicine cups, you can get them at Walmart, and I just pour a little bit inside. They're usually in like the travel section. They're like $1 for 2, but I find it so much easier to get this out, and I just pour a little bit into the cup, and then I take my brush and I dip right in, and then I just dust off the excess, because you don't want too much on your brush, just enough. Now I just like to take my damp beauty sponge and just make sure all of those creases are out before I go in with the powder, and this will help with any possible creasing. And I just lightly dust this all over my under eye. And then I also like to set the top of my eyelids as well. Again, just making sure all of the creases are out. And I try not to blink as much as I can between getting the creases out and laying the powder. Once again, I don't know if that actually makes a difference, but in my routine it seems to, so that's what I always do. And you always want to make sure that you are patting your face. After you get your powder down, then you can kind of wipe it a little bit, but you still really want to make sure that you're using a very light hand both when you are patting and when you are swiping, just to make sure that you're not disrupting any of the products that you've already laid down. Now that I have my eyes really set nicely, I just take it wherever else I like to keep myself real matte. So on my chin, I do not like to have a greasy chin, a greasy forehead, or a greasy nose. And there's a difference between looking glowy and, you know, adding a highlighter and looking greasy. And I really don't like the greasy look. Personally, some people do, and if you do, that's completely fine. That is you, you do you, and you just do whatever makes you happy and whatever works for you. So I'm just going to take it in the center of my forehead, along my smile lines, and the sides of my nose, then of course down the bridge of my nose. This is a Real Techniques brush that I use for underneath my eyes. Now we're going to set the rest of our face, and I'm going to be using a combination of the Maybelline Fit Me and the Airspun. What I'm going to do with the Airspun is I'm going to put it down here, because I noticed that this area right here likes to rub off a lot during the day, and I think it's because I'm always like touching my face and leaning on my face and all that kind of stuff. So I really like to have that stuff set down nicely. To set the rest of the face, I'm going in with the Maybelline Fit Me and this big fluffy brush from Real Techniques, and I'm just going to be setting the rest of my face with this very lightly. And the reason why I like to go in with a different powder is so that my face doesn't look so flat. And having a little bit of a darker color around the perimeter makes it look more dimensional and contoured and beautiful and healthy. Great reason why you should set the rest of your face is so when you go in with a powder, bronzer, or highlight or blush, you're not displacing any of the products that we've put down already. And I'm going to be taking the Airspun setting face powder, and this one is in translucent, and I'm just going to dump some into the cap like this, and then I take a dry beauty sponge and I just dip it in, and I work on carving out this spot right here. And this serves two purposes. This will not only set the bottom half of my face, but it's also going to help carve out my cheekbones. While that is setting, I'm going to be going in with my bronzer, and I'm going to be taking the Too Faced Power of Makeup by Nikki Tutorials, and I'm going to dip into the Chocolate Soleil bronzer. And I'm just going to be using this big fluffy fan brush from BH Cosmetics. So what I like to do with this is I just sweep my brush through the bronzer like so, and then I apply it to my cheekbones. And on the side of my face, and on my forehead. Anywhere we contoured, really. My bronzer applied, I'm just going to go in with this big brush and just wipe off all of that Airspun that we put on. To set the contour on my nose, I'm going to be using that same Chocolate Soleil and this little angled brush from BH Cosmetics. Take a little bit on my brush, not much, and I'm just going to pat it down the sides of my nose where I originally laid down the cream contour. I usually start with the tip of my nose just to get that nice and defined. And then I go down the sides. And then I add just a little bit right here on my chin and right underneath my lip to make it look more pouty. On to blush, I really enjoy using peachier tones or really mauve-y tones, and sometimes I even mix the two together and I think they turn out absolutely beautiful. But today I'm going to be diving into my Blush to Neutrals palette from BH Cosmetics, and this palette just has 26 eyeshadows and blush, so it's a mixture. And I really like this color. This has been my favorite blush recently. So I'm just going to be using this brush. It is an angled brush and it is from Luxie. It is the 504 brush. Right into this color in the BH Cosmetics palette and apply this to my cheeks. I'm going to blend that out with this big fluffy brush. And this just makes everything look more seamless and blended together nicely. The last thing I like to do to my face to achieve a very healthy, glowy look is to add some highlight. So first off, I'm going to be starting out with the Laura Geller Baked Highlight in French Vanilla. And I'm going to be using this to highlight my nose, my inner corners, and my brow bone. I like to just use my pinky finger and I dip into the highlight, and then I just do a tiny little bit right here on the bridge of my nose, and also a tiny little dot on the tip of my nose. And I like to do just a little bit further back than the tip of my nose, about right here, just because I feel like I have a longer nose, and the way I contour my nose, I try to make the tip of my nose more right here rather than right here. Grabbing a flat brush like this, also from BH Cosmetics, and I'm going to be using the same highlight to do my inner corners and underneath my brow bones, just to make everything pop a little bit. I have a set order of when I do my foundation, eyebrows, eyeshadow. It all just kind of varies of what I'm feeling that day. So as you can tell, I do not have my eyebrows done just yet, but I do normally do the eyebrow highlight after my brows are done. So that was a little bit out of place, but I thought I'd show you anyways. Moving on to highlighting my face, I am going to be going in with the Becca highlight in Moonstone. And I'm going to be taking this fan brush, also from BH Cosmetics. I'm going to be applying this to my cheekbones. And I like to apply a little bit right above my eyebrows, just to give my forehead a little bit more of a glow. And I usually just, you know, sweep it through like this. And I also like to add a little bit of this underneath my brow bone. Even though we already highlighted, I just think it adds an extra oomph to the highlight. Sometimes I like to go over my nose highlight too. Just to, like I said, add a little oomph to the highlight. And then I, of course, highlight my Cupid's bow. A little bit on my chin, not too much. I like to take the corner of my brush and just rub it in like this, and I apply it to my inner corners again. And I feel like it just really brightens up the eyes. Makes you look awake and healthy. The very last and final step to my face routine would be to setting it with a setting spray. And my favorite setting spray at the moment is the Slay All Day by Gerard Cosmetics. And I absolutely love that it smells like lavender. Lavender is one of my favorite scents. It's so calming and relaxing, and anything I can find in lavender, I'm pretty much gonna snatch it up and be obsessed with it. You can almost guarantee that. So what I like to do with this is just spray it all over my face. And what this will do to your face is really help with all the powders on your face to sink in and blend and make your face look healthy and dewy and moisturized and just like goddess status. And I'm very, very generous with the spray. And I just kind of wave my hands around my face to help it set. And then before it dries completely, I go back in with my beauty sponge. And I just like to press those powders into my skin. And I try to avoid where I put a lot of highlighter right away, because I don't want to be moving that highlighter all over my face. My favorite place to press down the product is underneath my eyes. I find that I have a dry issue underneath my eyes where it starts to kind of look really cakey and powdery. So when I set my face and then go back in and press down with my beauty sponge, I feel like it makes a world of difference with how my concealer and powder lay together. This is just a close-up of how my foundation routine looks. I feel like it turned out very dewy and fresh, and this is what I've been loving to do with my foundation. I just feel like it makes me happy, you know? I feel like it makes me look like I'm glowing and just healthy, and that's really, really what I like to achieve with my makeup, is just a healthy look overall. Really hope that you guys enjoyed watching this foundation routine. I know I look a little bit crazy without any eyebrows or anything on my eyes, but really wanted to sit down and do this video for you guys. So I really hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, then go on and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you on the next one. Bye! Okay, get warmed up. This is also a real technique, so this is all of it. Freaking. I'm just going to be taking this Luxie blush. So I'm to my cheeks, knocking stuff over. I'm just gonna apply my favorite my fan. I feel like it just makes I feel like this just oh my gosh, I'm gonna freak out.